Hey internet, Swag here. Bit dark, isn't it? There we go. In this video I'm going to show you all about how to make this nifty little light slider. Let's get to it. Alright, starting off, we will take our maker pen, go to open palette, in gadgets and gizmos we will find ourselves a piston, and in other gadgets and second page we will get ourselves a rangefinder. Configure the rangefinder to ignore objects and the piston to move to target. This will give the piston a third input pin to which we can hook together with the rangefinder. Then if we use the configure tool to configure the on-off value to 1 on both gizmos, turning them on, we can now use the laser of the rangefinder to directly translate the position of the piston with a hand. And this is the system we will be using to make our light slider. Now when we have this, the first thing we want to do is a little quality of life improvement, and that is get ourselves a combinator chip from the math chips, configure it to subtract, set the green pin to 25, and then we wire the value that is coming out of the rangefinder through the math chip into the target position. And what this will do is raise the space where the piston starts moving, which will make it so that once we have a button, we don't need to be fiddling inside the rangefinder where we can't see anything. Now the next step is to limit the minimum value that this system can output. And for that, we are going to need a comparator chip. A comparator chip allows us to set up a condition for it to fire. And in this case, that will be if the red pin is equal to or more than the green pin. So if we hook this up, this red pin will not output a value unless we come to the point where the piston starts moving. Then if we configure and make this an advanced piston, this cyan pin will take a value and output it on the red pin whenever the condition has been met. So if we hook it up like this, and hook this up here, this pin will now only emit from a 0 and upwards. It will no longer output the minus values, and that is important when we're going to be working on holding the value. Now limiting the upper value of our piston is a lot more simple. We can use the configure tool and adjust the range of our laser to be, well, I think 15 more than 25 is about right, so we put that to 40. There we go. You can see that the laser has become a lot tinier now, and because this is now set up as it is, there is a very small space within which the piston is moving. Now the only solution that we have yet to find in this system is that we need to add a system that will hold this value when we take out our hand. And for that, we will use the random chip. For the random chip has a very useful property of outputting a signal in between its minimum and maximum value. But when these things are both the same value, which happens if you hook it up like this, it will output the last value that it has been given. So if we hook this up, now when we move the piston around and take our hand outside of the laser, it will stop. And since we have this system in here that will make any minus value a 0, this pin does not update, this chip does not update, and hold this piston in the last position that it was. Now it is going to require one more little tidbit, because this system doesn't update on a 0. We need to make an artificial 0 by taking 1 away from the value of this chip, and now the minimum value that it can work with is 0. Now I made a quick socket for our slider. Put that here and make ourselves a button, and we can start hooking this thing up. Oh, a little bit bigger. There we go. Now when we wire this up to our piston, move this along. As you can see, the button is a slight bit above my hand. We can calibrate this easily by moving our rangefinder. A little bit more, and you can just eyeball this. There we go. That is about right on my finger. And as you can see, it doesn't go any higher than this, and this can be fixed in 2 ways. One is to make your laser a bit longer. So now it goes all the way to the top, a bit too far actually. There we go. And now it goes all the way to the top. Lovely. The next thing that we want is to attach this to a light bulb. Now the maximum value that this is going to output is not that much for adjusting the brightness of a light bulb. Yeah, that's a maximum of 17. So what we do is we get another combinator chip, configure it to this time multiply, wire it up, and if it's 17, I think 3 or 4 would be a nice number. There we go. Do it times 3, and we put that into the intensity, which is the dark blue pin on a light bulb. Put that into the intensity, and now we can move our light slider and adjust the brightness. Now you can use this for many things. I'm using it for the brightness of a lamp, but you can set it to a rotator and make the rotator move faster and slower. You can set it to a piston and adjust the speed of your piston with a slider. There's many little things you can do with this. I hope this tutorial was helpful and you will use it to make some pretty things or feel inspired to learn more about circuitry. If this was a bit confusing or you wish to learn more, come by the MakePen class Q&A on Friday and Sunday, or try the Gadgets channel on the Recroom Discord. But for now, I hope you use your newfound knowledge wisely and give it your Recroom best. Swag out.